Hello, this is Steve Ramona, your host for Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I want to thank our sponsors, Infone, and with Infone, you can place your business on everybody's cell phone, turn their business into a web app, and with a click of a button, they'll have access to you 24/7. And also Pantheon.fm. Have you ever thought about monetizing and taking your podcast to the next level? Well, Pantheon can do that. Let us show you how. Reach out to Steve Ramona, the host, at infone.co/SR1, and I will go over with you how you can make your podcast really stand out. Let's enjoy the show. Thanks again, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. This is your host, Steve Ramona, and I am fired up and pumped up for my guest day. This is going to be a great one. I have a lot of great shows, but we're going to get into something I'm passionate about, and I teach people all the time, personal development goals, and how he helps you do that, which is we all need, including me. Keith, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
So back in the green room, we're talking about your story, how this all started. Let's start there.
All right. Awesome. So, I grew up in a community with high crime, uh, low income, and no expectations. So, I was fortunate enough to have people around me who saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And they poured into me and helped me accomplish things. And as my first job was a dishwasher making $3.35 an hour, and I knew that I wanted more than that for my family. I knew that I could not create the life that I wanted to have for my family, making $3.35 an hour. So I started trying to understand what I could do to improve and create a better life for myself. And I was fortunate enough. I also was an athlete. I played basketball when I was a little kid, and I had a friend who lived on the other side of the tracks. And I would go spend Saturdays with him and his family after we played basketball against each other. And he lived in a three-story house with an elevator, and his living room was larger than my entire house. And so it made me curious. I thought, man, what do you have to do to be able to live this kind of way? And I, started asking, well, what are your parents doing? His father was an engineer. And so I asked the next question, well, what do you do to become an engineer? And that requires education. And so that started me on the track of trying to learn and develop and understand as much as I can. Education is a very important part and has been a very important part of my success. It's not the only thing, but it's a very important part. And so that got me into that. So that got me into college. And so I was fortunate enough to get a college scholarship with basketball, and that got me into education. And after I completed my degree, I wanted to see what was next. What else can I do to set myself apart? And I actually read a book by late great Zig Ziglar called "See You at the Top." And there was one thing in that book that stood out so much that I practiced that all of my career. And there's a statement that he says. There's a couple statements in that book that impacted my life, but the one that impacted me as far as personal development is that you should give 1 hour per day to your career and your life. And so I've practiced that throughout my life. And what that does is accelerate your growth every day. So you're working every day, identifying how can I be a better person tomorrow than I was today. And that creates a level of growth that compounds exponentially over the course of a year, a decade, and your life. And that has resulted in helping me accomplish amazing things, going from a dishwasher to a director for Fortune $500 billion companies, creating my own real estate company, and also becoming a coach and speaker, sharing the great news about how personal development and leadership can change your life.
And it's amazing. Personal development is your experiences. If you didn't play basketball and meet this guy, you may not be here. We are here today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely true.
Let's jump into personal development because experience is one of them. Why is it so important that you teach this with business people?
Well, over the years, I found out that most people are not practicing personal development. So I've worked in the corporate environments for 30 years now, and a common thing that I see, no matter how big the company is, and like I said, I've worked for Fortune 500 companies 20 out of the 30 years of my corporate experience, and people are not working on their personal development. I think what happens is you get a job, you go to work, you come home, you watch TV, you eat dinner, you talk to your significant other, and then you go to bed. And before you know it, you get into a routine and a habit, and you're not working to become a better person every day. And before you know it, a week's passed, a month's passed, a year's passed, and for some people, their entire life passes and they haven't worked to become the best version of themselves. And so I've learned by being exposed to all of these people who've been pretty successful. They're in great companies, but they could be so much more. They could accomplish so much more. They could be so much better if they were focusing time on personal development. And that's what I've been bringing to the corporate companies that I serve, and also to the coaching clients that I serve. I help them realize that even though you may be successful today, just imagine how much more successful you could be if you continue to learn and grow and invest in yourself. And one thing sums it up for me.
Hmm.
I saw this clip of Warren Buffett. He had someone was asking him a question as a young kid. He was like, "What?" And of course, what if you don't know, Warren Buffett is the most famous investor in the world. And so this young gentleman asked him, "What should I invest in?" And he was thinking he was going to tell him some stock. And Warren Buffett said, "The number one investment that you can make is in yourself, because it will pay you dividends for your entire life." And that's very powerful. It's very true. I agree to that, and I believe that has impacted my life in exactly that way.
You just picked two very successful and made a ton of money, Zig Ziglar and Warren Buffett, and their focus is on personal development. I think you need to talk to Keith. He's on to something here. And that leads to goals, which we all know are important. But the personal development, doesn't that help you get to your goals and then build more goals?
Yeah, absolutely. So they're all intertwined. And the way when I have a client, and let me just say, I'm going to say about 80% of people don't have a goal, or don't have goals, don't have written goals, and don't have goals that they've written and look at periodically. At least once a month. About 80% is what I find when I talk to people about it. But the way I start when I'm working with my clients, we start by creating goals. Get clear about what it is that you want. Most people don't know what they want. They're accepting whatever life gives them. And the truth is that you can create the life that you desire and deserve. And having goals is the process for that. So we start there typically. Let's talk about what you want your life to look like in 1, 3, 5, 10 years. And then once we get clear about that, then we'll create some milestones so that we can move in the direction to accomplish those things. So once you have your goals, then the next thing to do is to identify what can I do, or who do I have to become to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. So that's where personal development comes in. If you have goals but you don't have a plan to get
Yeah.
there, it's just a dream. But when you start working on your personal development to identify who you have to become, what skills do you have to develop, who do you need to meet, what changes do you make, what bad habits do you break that help me move towards this ultimate goal that I'm pursuing, that's a game changer. Every day you're inching closer to where you want to be. And it's more likely that you're going to be where you want to be in 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 years if you're doing those things and keeping track of that and moving in that direction. And personal development is something that helps to accelerate the accomplishments of your goals.
Love it, because you said something about dreaming goals. They're
Mm-hmm.
completely different. And listeners, here's what I tell people. You tell me you want to make more money. That's just a dream. But you tell me you want to go from 100,000 to 250,000 a year in income. That's a goal. And that's
Right.
what you teach. And that's powerful, because isn't accountability important in all this?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I teach people the smarter goals process. So people have heard of SMART, and I've added the E and R to it, uh, because you need to evaluate what you've done or where you are, and then recover so that you can stay on track. So smarter goals is the process, and part of that also is when you have goals and you have a process such as SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, which is for me the most important one. I'm going to come back to that in just a second, and then time bound, that gives you a time frame in which you need to do it. I come back to relevant because if you can really spend some time thinking about what is this going to do for me, what is this going to mean for me if I accomplish this goal, that's going to help you get some emotional buy-in into your goal. And when you realize that you have these uh, consequences that are going to be impacted by you actually accomplishing your goal, that gives you some emotional attachment that will cause you to get up when you don't want to get up. It'll cause you to stay up and put a little more time and effort into it when things are not going well. So that relevant part is very important. And then the ER, evaluating where you are, is probably one of the most common mistakes people make when it comes to goals. They may create goals, they may even write them, but they stick them somewhere and they never look at them until it's time to go back and look later. And maybe a year's pass and they go back and look, oh, here's those goals I wrote, as opposed to looking at it, weekly or monthly, or having a vision board where you can see it every day so that it's part of what you do every day, so that make sure you're moving forward towards accomplishing and designing the life that you desire and deserve.
I love it. I'm sure the audience is going, oh, man, this is good stuff. Let's make it more clearer, because you've made it clear. And I love stories. Tell me a story, if you have one, of somebody you work with and how they did it properly and what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, and I'd love to do that. So I'm going to tell you a story about a gentleman named Mike. So Mike, uh, it was ex-military, or is ex-military, and had, several years of military experience, and then actually moved into the corporate world, but took the military practices into his managing style in the corporate world. And I got a chance to meet him and to share with him, uh, number one, personal development, because personal development and leadership are all tied together. Because, in order to be a better leader, you need to be focusing every day on how do I improve my leadership skills. That requires personal development. Leadership doesn't happen in a day, it happens every day. We need to be investing time every day working to be the best leader that we can be. The second piece of that is the people that we lead are counting on us. They're counting on us as leaders. How can you give to other people what you don't possess? How can I teach you how to succeed if I'm not working and learning how I can succeed and accomplish more? So I need, as a leader, need to be working to be the best person I can be. So I got him to work on some things to help him improve his leadership knowledge and IQ and skills. I had him work on personal development skills that improve leadership success, like communication. A big thing that I do with the people, my coaching clients, is assessments. So a DISC assessment to help people understand their behavior style, which improves communication radically. It helps you become more strategic about how you communicate with other people, and results in significant improvement in relationships. And it's really about relationships, because success is all about people knowing, liking, and trusting you. And when you can improve your communication skills, it increases your ability to attain that with others. So I helped him develop those skills. And in his case, a good measuring tool was that the company that he worked for did engagement surveys of the employees. And shortly after we started coaching, probably 6 months into our engagement, his company did a survey, and his engagement scores went from the 60 range to the 90 range, which was amazing. And I was really happy and really proud about that. He wrote a note to me afterwards, and just, he said, "Hey, I've been leading people for 30 plus years, and you basically have changed my life. You've improved my relationships with the people that I lead. You've changed my relationship with my family. My relationship with my kids and my wife is better than it's ever been because of the things that you taught me." So that was really touching, and I'm very proud to have been part of his journey.
Thank you for sharing that story, because it's priceless. Those relationships he built lead to money. I mean, we're here, and out there, I'm sure people listening are solopreneurs or founder owners of businesses. I got to make money to pay my employee and all that, but that's what this leads to, right? The financial ROI, whether it's 1%, 5%, there's always growth there, isn't there?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I feel like our people are our um it's a competitive advantage that organizations, don't utilize fully. And it is a place where I feel like there's a lot of growth for most companies. And I'm happy to be able to support my clients, to help them realize, number one, how important that is, and to help them make the most of that and create the best possible work environments for their people and for individuals, to help them reach their full potential. Uh, that's my personal mission statement, to help others reach their full potential. So together we can make a positive difference in the lives of others.
I'm going to shout out, audience, a couple things that he said you need to realize a coach has to have: accountability, communication, and the biggest one to me is support. A coach shouldn't be, here's your homework, Steve, I'll talk to you next week. We'll test your homework. It's being available, however that's set up, and that's each, what you do as a coach. But he just said that, and he said help like 3 times so far in this show. That's why I wanted him on the show, as I learned about him. And with that being said, I lost my train of thought. Let's do a shout out at how people can get a hold of you. We've learned so much about you. Now they want to talk to you. How can they find you?
Okay, awesome. So you can go to my website. You can go to www.coachkeithshaw.com. You can also go to startleadingfast.com. Either one of those websites you can learn more about me, my journey, and the different things that I've done. You can also reach out to me via email, and that is Coach Keith at coachkeithshaw.com. I'd love to hear from you. Like I said, my objective is to help as many people as possible reach their full potential, because I want to make a positive difference in the world. And I feel like this is a great way to help to accomplish that.
No, that's fantastic. I know you have an offer for my audience, which I really appreciate. What do you want to offer the audience?
Yeah, so I would like to offer your audience an opportunity to have a rapid success coaching call with me. In that call, we'll be able to talk about what it is that you want to accomplish, because most people are not very clear on what they want. So I'll help you gain clarity, and then I'll help you create a, a set of milestones to help you move you towards accomplishing your goal.
And to motivate you to reach out, he's only going to talk to the first 20 for free. This is becoming a large show. So the first 20 that reach out, mention the podcast or my name, either way, just so he knows you came from here, he'll do a free assessment, which is worth thousands, I would assume, right? Easily worth thousands.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you for that, Stephen. And I really appreciate having an opportunity to share this with your audience.
And thank you, because I'm going to thank you even more here. The first 5 people that reach out to you, they're getting a $20 Amazon gift card from me.
Awesome.
So same thing. You got to mention the podcast or my name. If you forget, you better go find this podcast and listen to it again. Because we're at the coming to the end here fairly quickly. But yeah, and what Keith will do is he'll let me know that you're part of the podcast. All I need is your email. So he'll send me your information. I'm just going to send out a gift card via email. I did 3 on Monday. I did 2 on Friday. So I do send them out. I'm to my word, but it's doing business with a servant's heart. And I love what Keith is doing. Coach Keith is Coach Keith. If I had a pro football team, he'd be my coach, because he knows what he's talking about. I'm a big sports guy. I like the references. People are happy and they're sad. But doesn't personal development make you happy almost all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. I find that when you get into personal development, you start thinking about, what do I like and what don't I like? And especially when you, number one, are able to accentuate the things that you like. Well, number one, assessing where you are. Most people don't take the time to assess, where am I? Do I like where I am? Do I like who I am? Do I even know who I want to be? But once you go through that, and then you start making progress to improve things that you know you need to improve. You know, maybe you want to improve your relationships with your relationships in your family, and you start doing things to help improve those relationships, and you see the results. All that results in happiness because you see yourself growing, and I think it's human nature to want to learn and grow and improve. And when we accomplish things as well, it all results to a happier, more satisfied life.
Keith, that's so well said. You went much better than I was thinking. You're like went deep, which is great because it's so true. Every time I serve somebody or I build myself, I've read something. It's like, wow, that's good. I'm going to implement that. Or you've said something. So we're running out of time here, but I have a question I hear all the time. And you'd be a great guy to ask this. I don't like to read. Is there other ways I can build personal development? Do I have to read?
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm actually just like you. I prefer to consume my personal development in a way other than reading. Sometimes I read, but most of it is not. You know, today there's so many different ways to get access to training, videos that are personal development related, and that's a great way to receive your personal development. Audio tapes. I listen to books audiobooks all the time, and I love doing that. Now, you know, if you think about it, each and every one of us are driving in our car a certain number of hours or some certain number of minutes every day at least. You know, just think if you spent even if it's 20 minutes, if you spend 20 minutes driving to and from work or to school, listening to something that's going to be enriching and help you to improve, you know, you make progress, you accelerate your progress every single day, which is what I believe is necessary for you to become the person that you desire and deserve to be.
I love it. And then would this work as well? I know the answer, but I'm being I forget the word is, but you could also get personal development from another person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely. You know, coaching in itself is personal
Yes, it
development in a
is.
certain way.
Yeah.
You know, and not only, you know, when I'm coaching someone, not only am I helping them, I'm doing a couple of things. My long-term objective of the coaching that I do for people is to help them develop the muscle, the mental muscle to think their way out of any situation. So that, you know, it's not to coach somebody for the rest of their life. That's not the way I want it to work. I want to introduce people to things that are going to help them develop the skills to be able to face any problem and understand how to get through that as best as possible. So that in itself is personal development, I do that through not only challenging them and helping them get used to identifying some of their own solutions, but also sharing the expertise that I've developed over 30 years of corporate life and 57 years on this great planet Earth. So you know, just trying to help them learn and share my wisdom and expertise, as well as hold them accountable and encourage them as well, because, you know, life sometimes can be challenging. And I like to tell people, Jim Rohn is someone else that I followed for years. And
Yeah.
Jim Rohn used to have this saying, don't wish that life were easier, wish that you were better. And that's all about personal development. And so I add a little something to Jim's wise words. I say, and when you invest in you, or invest in yourself, because when you do, then life will get better for you. And that totally is true. And it's manifested in my life. It's manifested in the lives of several of the clients that I've had over the years.
You're an incredible person and a
Thank you.
very good coach because you get it. And listeners, if you want to get it, reach out to Coach Keith. You're going to get rewarded with a 20, you know, with a consultation. I'm going to give you a $20 Amazon gift card. And if you miss the top 5, still reach out because the ROI on what he just talked about today could be 1, 2, 10% or 10 times. I want you all to think about if you grew 10 times your business, how much money would you make? Only you have the answer to that. Reach out to Keith and figure out how to do that. Keith, you're a blessing. God bless you for what you're doing. I want to thank you for being on the show. I want to have you back as my notes are short. That's what I do, audience. When I'm looking down, I'm writing notes. There's more we could talk about here. I don't want to get out to the audience some great things. We'll do a part 2. With that being said, what's one tip or a piece of advice you can leave the audience that they could take from the show today and put it into their life or business and personal?
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And the one thing that I'd like to mention, when I talk to people, I like to ask the question, do you have a personal development plan? And about 95% of the people tell me that they don't. And so my advice to you is that if you don't have a personal development plan, you need to develop one. And, one of the most common questions I get when people, talk to me and I tell them that they need to have one, they say, I'm not exactly sure how to do that. So uh, it's easy for you to figure it out. And hopefully some of the things we talked about, will help you be able to figure that out if you want to try that on your own. But if you need some help, if you want somebody who can walk beside you, hold your hand, guide you through this process, and help you to uh, start to become the person you desire and deserve to be so that you can reach your positive so you can reach your full potential and make a positive difference in the lives of others. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to be your partner in that journey.